I'm joined today by some members of the AIM team. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Go right ahead.
I'm Elaina Armata. I am the AIM study supervisor. I'm in A154.
I'm Keeley Naughton, and I am one of the AIM literacy interventionists.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I was really excited to talk to you guys. I know I've been bugging you and bugging you and bugging you, but I think you guys have a lot of really cool stories and a lot of great things to share. So first and foremost, we're kind of in this weird hybrid. So what does hybrid mean for an intervention student? And like, what does a period look like for them during an intervention?
I can talk about like the one-to-one intervention. For that, it's typically a 20-minute time slot, 20 to 25 minutes. So each interventionist can see about 2 students during the hybrid schedule, whether they're remote or they are in person. And that goes for the literacy interventionist, the math interventionist, and the executive functioning. So we spend that time working on not only making sure that they are caught up in their classes, but also on the skills that they need to kind of recharge and revamp.
And then after that 20 minutes, they come to me. So either they have a first 20 minutes or a second. So that is, we call the waiting room over here in our AIM room. So
Can
they
you
hang
show
out
us
on the
the
side.
waiting room? Can we see the waiting room?
We do have the waiting room. So down over here, as they walk in, they come and they hang out over here. Also, so there's not so much traffic in the room. So they just come there and go right back to the one-to-ones. But during that time, we usually have them do like one assignment for all kids in AIM study. We start the day by just saying hello and checking in, doing a self-check-in with everyone. And then we check the grades and we talk about what's missing or what we can do. And it's never anything like you have these 8 things to do. It's like, here's our one thing we're going to get done and submitted for the day. So a lot of it's just like chunking away at the missing work we have. And once we get those grades out, we do a lot of celebrating on the fact that our grades are where we want them to be. And, you know, a lot of kids come in and they'll say like, I know, Miss Armata, I know my grade's this, but my history grade now just went up. And we still celebrate that because it's still a success. So that's what we do.
The AIM room is the party room. That's where we celebrate.
I've been down there. It gets wild. It gets wild. It's good. I like what you said though, the chunking stuff. So like, rather than like, hey, here's the, you know, the plethora of things you need to get done. You think they really value like, hey, get this one thing done, like small goals and stuff.
And the small goals, it's attainable. So when they look at their grades and they see that say we have a student and they're missing 4 assignments, and we say, hey, the end of the week, it's Monday. By the end of the week, maybe we have all 4 in, but today while you're in your class on Monday, we're going to get 3/4, if not the whole thing done. And you're going to email me and you're going to email your teacher and say it's done. And we're going to be excited and not worry about that anymore. So
I love that.
A lot of it is making sure that we are also staying current. So we just always show that when you're digging yourself out of a hole, it's harder to just go from 0 to 100. We kind of have to just gradually get ourselves out of the hole. And I think that especially last semester, we saw the benefit of doing that with in-person too, because we did have some in-person in the library, but we did a lot of just like slowly getting out of it. And I think that even this year or this semester, you can see a change in a lot of these students.
Good.
Looking at Power School for a freshman can be really intimidating and really overwhelming, especially if they are not doing so well. So just focusing on one class and then maybe one unit helps them not feel so overwhelmed. And then it still shows, you know, each one of those little successes will ultimately lead to a bigger outcome.
Interesting. So that's a really good transition to the next question I wanted to ask you both. And that was like, what things do you see on like, I'm going to say Schoology, but what I really mean is like the agendas and how a teacher communicates their goals. Like, what do you see that works across the board, like with that stuff?
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to? Well, for me on my side, as somebody who is not a teacher, but an aide, the best thing that works for me and for other students is like the structure of it built. And if you have the same thing over and over, kids are going to understand it. So sometimes when Schoology is a little mixed up, I really like how a lot of the teachers go week by week. I'm thinking of health right now. Health is the same thing for every week and it's built the same way. The other thing that's really, really helpful is always having your daily Zoom link on the top, the very first thing. We have students that we totally understand that it looks like hand holding. We do have students that will come to us and not know where to go still. And so we've actually built like Zoom links for them and schedules. So kids have a hard time with it, even if it seems very easy for us. For them, it's still, especially freshmen, they get flustered. But I think if we have our Schoology set up very similar with structure that doesn't change, the kids get it much easier.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all of that. And some specific feedback that I've had from kids is some teachers, and I was guilty of this last semester. I just said week 1, 2, 3, 4. They need the dates. They need to be able to look on PowerSchool
Okay.
and say, okay, I'm missing Unit 1 test January 19th. Then they find that week folder by the date. So if it's week 1, January 7th through the 12th, that's a lot more helpful and it's quicker for them and they don't get lost and give up.
Interesting. So you think kids, you think a lot of students, they're more chronological than thinking about like maybe units and how that kind of groups?
I think so. Or if you just have like your bit, like unit 1, but
Yeah.
then within that you have specific dates. I have just found that helpful for my students. And also to make sure the terminology and how you title things are the same in PowerSchool and Schoology.
Yeah.
That is
Oh, yeah.
confusing. So I think that would help.
Going back to, I still am stuck on that thing you guys said, the first question, the idea of like chunking and like trying to make like one big goal. Do you think like then a kid kind of appreciates that when they see their agenda? It's like, okay, here's today's big goal. It makes it easier for like you all when you're working with students as well. Like, do you notice that?
Yeah, and I think what the AIM team tries to do is before we even see our kids, we have a goal for them. Like we have that goal for them. And in order for them to feel like they take ownership over that goal, it's like, okay, Elaina, you can either work on this or this, which one? And then we go. And they kind of have that choice still, but we've already done the research on what needs to be accomplished so that their time is used well.
Yeah, especially like on Mondays for me for the AIM study, because I end up getting majority of the kids in the program. I look at what we're missing, and if it's something like current issues, so I'll use that. They can listen to the blog on their own, to the podcast on their own, and answer the questions on their own. Whereas maybe they actually have like a history quiz they need to do. Well, on that Monday, go listen to that blog and try to get as many answers in. And then when you come see me in person, if you just need me to be there as like your emotional support about doing the quiz, that's when I'm going to be better to be there with you. So we all have logs. For me, I have written pretty much like what they have to do. I go through and check quick
Cool.
and on the log, we just say if there's nothing, we just again celebrate like you're doing fantastic. Look at this grade, and so it's a lot of celebrating. So if you guys ever come down our
Show us
hallway,
what an example of that celebration looks like, Elaina.
Oh, I'm not dancing right now, but if you ever want to come down and see us, we seriously we cheer.
We were jamming out to NSYNC today, so.
Yeah, so that's definitely something. We have music. I know me and Nicoletti were joking around about Wild Wednesday of like when we had a kid who, you know, may have had a 10% and he got it up to a 55, and understandable. If you're looking at the black and white of it, it's still an F, but that kid just went from a 0 to a 50, like after doing all this.
Yeah.
This is a celebration. So I think we threw some jock jams on, probably embarrassed him, but showed our age. And like, you know, that secretly they kind of like appreciated that we were just as happy for them as they were.
So like keep this in your back pocket. If you ever really need to motivate a kid, Nicoletti and the Dougie is really, he is going to come after me for saying that, but I don't care.
Thank you, leg.
Uh-huh. He's got some moves. He's got some moves. He can help with those celebrations. Is he there?
No.
Oh, okay. Again, great transition to my next question. Every time I walk by, it is like apparent, like you guys have made like strong connections with these students. I wanted to like make sure everybody kind of understood on here, like some of the stuff you guys did, but give me a quick success story of just like something crazy that like, whoa, that was just awesome that happened in the past, all this e-learning time and hybrid time.
I
There's
think,
a lot.
I know.
I know that's it. There's like too many, but give me a good one.
I think for me, well, for the whole team, but I think for me specifically, there's a freshman student who had straight zeros up until November. And then when we started bringing that student in late last semester and then all through winter break, he went from having all zeros in every single one of his classes to passing every single one of his classes except for one. And I think that just shows how important relationship building is, which I think North teachers in general do a really good job at that. But I think these kids are struggling with remote, and these kids are struggling with hybrid. There's a lot going on right now, but just building those relationships and making him, I mean, he has asked the AIM team, like, can I be here every day? Like, that's just a big, and we have a ton of those kids. That's just one.
Good.
Yeah, I think we really have to think about, we're only with these kids from the beginning of the school day to the end of the school day. And like, if I could keep this a positive and a happy atmosphere where like they're comfortable, they want to do work, they're okay with asking questions. I know remote doesn't work for everyone, but it works for some of our kids because now don't have the anxiety of participating or asking the question. And the same successes of just like having a kid absolutely say, no, I'm not going to come to school. And I think that has nothing to do with us, but maybe outside outliers. But when they're here, they want to be here. They want to be with us. I mean, they want to be at North. And I think that's not just for the AIM program. I think a lot of teachers, it's the same way, because we hear so many great stories from our other teachers too, from our students. But them coming in, like I was saying before, and like, I know your math, my algebra grade is this, but look at what I'm doing here. Like those little things of they're really realizing they're successful also, I think is big.
So watching them kind of catch those moments and break that negative cycle is kind of a big deal. Cool.
And I think like once everyone has built those relationships, yes, like we like to have fun and we like to like clap obnoxiously in the hallway as they walk through, but we really show them tough love. I mean, they're really working hard down here. And I think the tough love is something that a lot of them really respect. And they know that they have to work hard.
And I've been in there for those moments too. And it's unbelievable how a kid responds to that and as well with like such respect. So it's kind of crazy, like seeing their transformation throughout this year. Okay. My last question for you. And again, it's going to build off of what you guys keep saying with celebrations and stuff, but like, what are some things that like, if you were to transfer this to like a regular classroom, not intervention time, what would be some like things and activities and SEL things that you could see teachers kind of incorporating? We don't want to steal all your good ideas because we got to keep some of those for AIM, but what are some things you think we could all do in our classroom?
I mean, I kind of use this quote, and it's be the person you needed when you were younger. And I use that. And
Wait, say that again. Everybody needs to hear that twice, I think.
Be the person you needed when you were younger. I did not necessarily have the most successful high school. And I'd probably be the one person that was like, I'm never setting foot back into a high school. And here I am 10 years in education. And I am now going back to go get my bachelor's so I could become a teacher. But yay, I know that's exciting. But I always think about like, what did these kids need from me that I might have needed back then? And so I really look at each student separately. I have one student who, we are all a big fan of his, but he pretends he doesn't like enjoy us screaming his name down the hallway. But then, I'm screaming his name down the hallway. I'm saying, it's your best friend, Miss Armata. But once we get in class, you can ask anyone about that. But as soon as he sits down with me, I'm like, okay, culinary, what do we need to do? How can we get this done? So it goes with that. Or if we have a student who is a little quiet and not used to very loud Armata, I'm very calm about it. And I just say, hey, you did fantastic on this project. You really have to you have to almost be like an emotional chameleon with some of these students because all of them are so different. And again, we don't know what's happening outside of school, that this might be their comfort spot. And my SEL for like what I did in my classroom. So I try to make my classroom, the kids have not had halogen lights for a year. So I actually, and I have a lot of natural light. I never put on the lights. I have a lot of different like electric or battery operated candles and lights, and I play really low music. So it's not like, sometimes it's not low. We were listening to NSYNC today, but very low music, and it's very chill. I try to make this place somewhere you want to do work, you want to get your work done, you want to be. So I just try to make my environment somewhere that it could be more their environment. And
I get that because it's like,
She has the really cool LED high schooler lights too.
oh,
I do here. I'll let you guys see. So I do. I have like lots. This is our little flexible seating, but
oh, it's like a YouTube channel.
it is. But the kids love it, and we play like we were listening to some indie also earlier of just instrumental indie, and we just everything's very calm in here. It's not always calm, but for the most part, it is.
Nice.
Correct.
Welcome back to my vlog, right? That's how it's probably in there.
For the SEL piece too, I think something that I've learned through intervention that I could have done with my own classes a long time ago is just ask for students to be brutally honest with me. I think that's something that is easier to do one-on-one. I feel like a lot of times students just feel this pressure to come up with an excuse if they didn't do something or if they don't understand something. And I think just asking for honesty is not only a really important like life lesson, but I think these students respect that no matter what their answer is, we're going to get through it and help them. And so just asking for honesty, I think has been really helpful.
I like that.
Yeah, and I usually ask them, what is something you'd want your teachers to know about you? I know that's common around here, but that's really something that's important because, you know, nine times out of 10, you're gonna be like, oh no.
Yeah.
But then you're gonna get that one person that's like, I really don't love reading, but I'll use Audible. You're like,
Mhm.
okay, boom, now I know. I'm gonna write that down. That this kid, like, you know, reading the book's not an option, but here's the different ways we can still get them involved and find different ways for them to learn, because we have so much critical thinking that's been going on throughout how to educate during these times that we have to find ways for our kids, and it's not necessarily just all paper and book.
And it sounds like a question you could ask multiple times, and that answer is going to change when it needs to change. The kid's really going to share that with you.
Yeah.
Guys, this is great. I don't know why you're so nervous. I can't believe it took you this long to share all this great stuff with us. But thank you for spilling the teach today. All right.
Thank you for asking us.
No problem. Here, give a little.
Oh, that's aging us.